As normal, most people start out with the best of intentions, and sometimes things, well, they just don't go as planned. It's kind of what happens to some of the people we're going to meet here in this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. Our first boat of this week is going to come out of Dauphin Island, Alabama, where three gentlemen set out on their sport fisher to go do a little fishing trip, when all of a sudden things went a little wrong and the boat caught on fire. Fortunately, all three gentlemen were able to escape this blaze of the 36-foot vessel by jumping into a floating life raft, and they paddled to the nearby island. The Coast Guard and the Dauphin Fire Department were all rushed to the scene. They did find the gentleman on the island and everybody turned out to be okay. They were a little upset about their sport fishing boat though. Our second boating story this week is going to take us down to the Caribbean, where we're going to see the boat rocking. Not in the way most of us think about a boat rocking, but this is what happens when a 7.4 magnitude earthquake strikes your boating area. These images are coming from Grand Cayman in this home security footage, and it's going to show us the beating this boat takes as the earthquake is hitting down there in the Grand Cayman. This was one of the largest earthquakes that's ever hit in the Caribbean. This happened about a week ago, but it's kind of a crazy scene to see what happens to this boat just from an earthquake even though it's in the water. Our third boating story this week is going to take us down to South Florida in the Florida Everglades, where this 67-year-old gentleman here decided to go on a week-long kayak trip all by himself. He was due back on January 29th and did not return. Authorities were alerted and a search began, but it took several days before they got their first good lead when somebody actually found my man's backpack with his cell phone and wallet in it. They used this as a jumping off point and launched a helicopter and started searching around where the location this was found. They did find him floating up in the water. He was alive, suffering from severe hypothermia, but I'll tell you what, my man had to be glad to be found because this had to be a terrifying situation to be floating around in the Everglades for several days. For our fourth boating story this week, we're going to stay down in sunny South Florida, and this is the 79th Avenue Causeway Bridge in Miami. Right here, it was closed for several hours about a week ago when a boat decided, well, they just really didn't want to wait for that bridge, and they were going to go ahead and crash into it. Here we're going to pan over to the boat that wound up hitting it, and to my surprise, it is actually a sailboat. Usually sailboaters are known for their patience as these vessels typically cross oceans at slow speeds, but you can tell by the fact that his mast down, my man decided he was sick of waiting on that bridge and he was waiting no longer. Basically just went at it and said, "Out of my way, bridge." Unfortunately for them, this did not speed their trip up. Now they had to sit around and wait on authorities, and I'm just guessing they're probably going to have to sit around port and wait on repairs as well to continue their trip. Our fifth boating story this week is about two guys fueling up their boat to go fishing. These guys pulled into the gas station, super excited to get out there on their fishing day, and they began pumping fuel into the boat. Only to realize about 30 gallons later, my man had stuck the fuel pump in the wrong hole and was pumping fuel into a rod holder nozzle. All of a sudden they noticed the whole deck of the boat had begun to fill with the 30 gallons of fuel he'd pumped. The fire department was called. They did come in and help them clean this mess up, but that had to be a pretty nasty scene. Thanks for watching our Wednesday edition of Boating News of the Week. If you guys ever see anything crazy happening on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you may see your story or your videos over here. Also, be sure to check us back out on Sunday for our funnier episodes of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week that we post every Sunday. And if you haven't already, drop an anchor on the subscribe button or I'm coming to steal your drain plug.